Alright, y'all, like, click, subscribe, do all that. Is Netflix time. This movie's called Mom. After a stepdaughter is sexually assaulted at a party, a furious mother sets out to destroy the lives of the 4 perpetrators who walked away free. So it's an Indian movie that came out in 2017. It's about 2 hours and 18 minutes long. This one's definitely a spoiler alert. And I'm gonna tell you right now, if you're very squeamish or have a weak constitution, you might want to shut this video off now. But if you enjoy this kind of stuff and you've seen the first half of the movie, then you're probably sick. But anyway, just giving y'all fair warning. Alright, let's get it. So right at the back, before the movie even starts, it's dedicated to 2 people, where one died in 2011 and the other one is recently. That's just sad. We just setting the tone early, huh? Here we have our mom, Priya. She's an English teacher. My fault, she's a biology teacher. So you got this kid texting her daughter something provocative, I guess. Yeah, her daughter's in the same class with her, so it's crazy. She takes both their phones, but specifically for him, she tosses his out the window. So unnecessary, right? What picture did he send her daughter? So anyway, after school, they're back at home eating. She has a husband and actually 2 kids, 2 girls. Arya wants to go to a party, but she only wants to ask Dad for her approval. I feel like she's either mad at her mom or she doesn't really respect her like that. So the next day, Dad's about to go on a business trip, and we learn that Priya is not Arya's real mom. Her real mom died a while ago. So the dad says she accepted both of us like it was a family tradition or something. I'm not really sure where the contents come from, but... So the whole basis come from Arya not accepting Priya as her mom. They say goodbye to Dad, and Priya brings some friends to the house. They weren't bad-mouthing Arya, but she took it some type of way. Later on, Arya's getting ready to go to this party that she was talking about. And then we see a picture of what her real mom looks like. And these are her 2 friends that she's going to the party with. They get to the party, they're getting the drinks on popping, taking photos, all that good shit. So remember that kid from school? He goes to try to get a dance from her, but she rejects him. He feeling all salty and shit. So his boy gonna go over there and he spiked one of the drinks. Look at him, he just looks shady as shit. So he goes over there thinking he gonna get it popping. But she's like, nah, I'm good with the drinks, dog. But her homegirl ends up taking a drink. So yeah, she's about to be ferret in about 20 minutes. He come back, his boy laughing at him too and shit. So she got to see this one guy that she wants to see at the party that she really likes, so she about to go see what's good. But as she's walking there, she realizes that he's already got a girl. So while he's partying, he gets a message from his dad saying that something happened at the hospital or whatever, so he had to dip out. Because of the Mickey that was slipped in her friend's drink, she's starting to feel the effects, and now she's lying down on the couch. Arya makes a call to her mom and tells her she'll be home about 40-45 minutes. But as she's going away from the crowd to get some reception, she gets kidnapped by the 2 people she rejected and 2 of their friends. So 4 in total. They were tied up in the back seat. You hear this eerie music as they've been driving around for a while. That sky shot of the car looks crazy. But like, they switched seats or whatever driving. I'm not sure what the reason for that was, but... Mom's still trying to get a hold of the daughter, but she's not picking up. Next thing you see, the truck pulls over on the side, and they basically discarded her like trash. She was left a mess. Now I'm thinking this girl is either dead or at least in critical condition. It's been about a couple hours at this point, so Mom goes looking for her at the party. She can't find her or her friends. She goes to the police and fills out a report. Like I said, it's been about 3 hours since she called. You got this guy listening to the whole conversation. Turns out he's actually a private detective. He lets her know basically just in case the cops fuck up, he gives her his card or whatever and tells her to call him anytime. Meanwhile, some guy jogging finds Arya. Him and his dog, yeah, they call 911. Mom gets the call and she's at the ICU. Yeah, because once I seen the ICU letters, I was like, okay, she's still alive, alright. But she is beyond messed up. The doctor tells her breathing was bad. She's got several broken bones. She's going to need multiple surgeries. And by doing the physical, saying that she was basically sexually assaulted. So at this point, Priya's ready to spaz the fuck out. As any parent would. Police come down, letting them know that they're on the case. She calls her husband, telling him to come home right away. Even when she's visiting her at the hospital, she is still shutting out her mom. She tried to close the blinds while she was there. I was like, damn. So even after what took place, she doesn't really acknowledge her still as a real mother. Dad finally gets there. She reaches out to her dad. Alright, now this is the tagline for the whole movie. Now at this point, Arya can barely speak because she has her facial bones crushed or whatever like that. And she says, you know what those guys said to me when I was begging for help? They said, call your mom. Now that could be taken multiple different ways in this situation. Arya's thinking to herself her real mom's dead, so she doesn't really think that she's thinking to herself like call her to death or whatever. Obviously she couldn't call Priya because they took her phone. Priya knows Arya doesn't respect her as a mom because obviously she's still thinking about her real mom. So as police are rounding up her friends, Arya finally gives a statement. They round up every last one of these no good pieces of shit. Then you got the private detective watching on the news with his wife and kids, seeing how this whole thing's going down on the news. There's a lot of tomfoolery involved in this case. There was no evidence linking them because they had the car cleaned off. 2 of them arrived back at the party after the fact. She was drinking at the party, so they tried to say she was incoherent with her statement. Basically, they got off scot-free. Daughter read the news, obviously. Like, she didn't have the news yet, but she was just healing up, getting over her wounds. Parents are pissed off, obviously. Once they get the verdict, father punches one of them dead square in the face, and they have to restrain him for this bogus-ass acquittal. Kind of reminds you of the real justice system, huh? Mom hears the verdict. She was spazzing at first, but then she sees the private detective over her eyes. So you like, what's going through her mind right now? She frees her husband from custody. This officer starts talking to her, but she ain't trying to hear none of that shit. You can tell somebody's about to take this situation into their own hands. They get back home, Arya unlocked herself in a room. She was kneeling on the ground, Dad hugs her. She looks up at Priya and just starts screaming at her like. And Priya basically feels like it's her fault, like she failed Arya. You could tell at this point she's just contemplating what to do next. Dad tries to console her as best as he can. Meanwhile, Priya's driving back to school when she sees the boy that was in her class that raped her daughter. So she finds out that they reinstated him and he's back in school. And the principal told her there was nothing that he could do about it. So she was like, you know what? I quit. I'm not teaching here no more. Then she walks by him as she's leaving out the principal's office. Again, you're thinking to yourself, like, what is going through her mind right now? So she decides to follow him. She's planning on just running him over for her. But then she almost hits a truck in the process. I'm like, oh shit. So she comes back home. The husband can kind of sense that something's off, but not quite. So with nowhere else to turn, she finally goes to see the private investigator. And she basically wants information on all four of the people that raped her daughter. And why would she need that information? Come on, you know she about to go handle niggas. Come on. He meets up with the private detective at the train station for the first victim. She goes to her homegirl for help. Now look at that backdrop. That is legit the cover for this movie, right there. Yeah. Well, anyway, one of the guys is getting drunk and she calls him over without revealing her face. You know, being all seductive and whatnot. But then he ends up getting choked out and left for dead. His wife starts nagging at him. Come to find out, he's been missing for like 4 days. He looks down and he finds out his dick was either mangled or cut up or something. While he's spazzing out, he slips around in the water and hits his head on a pipe and he's just laid out, dead. Killed himself. Well, anyway, that's one down. As Arya gets the news, you can tell Mom's thinking about the next victim. Police get the news and he thinks the family has something to do with it, but he don't have no proof of that because, you know, obviously revenge. Policeman suspects the dad, so he asks his man to keep a close eye on him. Meanwhile, Priya meets up with the detective so she can get her next bit of information. He gives her a flash drive, and she learns everything about what they do. So she chopped up some apples and put some seeds in a bag and told her husband she's going to the store. Why the apples and the seeds? You'll see. So she goes to their house waiting for the gardener to let him in. Hopefully, I think she took the CCTV footage, because, you know, it kind of saw her face. She goes to the kitchen and puts some type of something in the his muscle 1500 protein shakes. She mixes it in with the powder. Of course, he takes it the next day, so he's all the way fucked up. His friend gets the call as he's smoking weed. While he's there at the hospital, we find out he was poisoned with some type of thing called cyanide that is made from apple seeds. See where I'm going with this now? After she leaves, somebody makes the call so the police can come to the house. They check his house. They found the weed that he smoked in the bathroom. They find apples and seeds in his trash can. They go to his laptop showing that he recently looked up on Google how to cook cyanide. She even flipped around the time to make it look like he looked it up a couple hours ago. So the guy's poisoned. His best friend's going to jail for trying to murder. Perfect plan, right? Only problem is the cop discovered that she left her glasses at the scene. I'm like, oh. Meanwhile, she's back at home and she's listening to her daughter Arya scream in agony in the shower. I can't even imagine the pain she was going through. It's like you can never wash that off, you know what I'm saying? Back at the hospital, she goes to visit the dude she poisoned. And she says, you told my daughter to call her mom? Well, guess what? Mom's here. Like I said, that's kind of the tagline for the whole movie. But you know, it has sentimental value. And as she left pieces of apples there next to his bed. Symbolism, nigga! Back at home, Arya's texting her dad. They want to plan to go on a trip. And of course, he definitely wants to set that up, you know what I'm saying? So, meanwhile, Mom gets confronted by the cop. Oh, shit. He needs her to sign something, but she can't see. So it's like he tries to give her the glasses that he found at the spot. And then she's like, oh, you got the same pair of glasses too? I wear these also. Yeah, she's slick as shit, right? He tells her don't get caught because he will arrest her. But then he says, leave the last one alone. This guy is very dangerous. He's a hardcore criminal. Dude by the name of Jagan. So you could tell he kind of wants her to get a revenge, but at the end of the day, he still has to perform like a cop, you know what I'm saying? So he gets back home, husband tells her they're going on a trip. She goes to meet the private detective one last time to tell him about the final person. So she wants information on that, but she still says she's going to wait on it because she's going on a trip. And then she lets him know police has been on the trail recently, so, you know, be careful. But unbeknownst to them, she's really been on their trail because he was down there the whole time hearing them talk. So he gets him to the station. Obviously, he ain't saying shit. But the boss lays into him saying, like, you ain't got no evidence. You got to let him go, and that's that. Meanwhile, Jacob visits the boy in jail, and he's trying to get a hold of some information. Like, basically, he about to see who's popping, who's doing all this shit. He goes and visits Charles, finds out Priya was behind all of it, and Charles dies right after that. The private detective was following Jagan, but Jagan's not that stupid, so he came to meet him up in his office. Jagan shoots him. Detective done deal, dead. Meanwhile, the family goes on vacation. Not really having a whole lot of fun. They're just reflecting on things. Trying to get back to regular life, I guess. Father doing silly shit with wigs, you know. Just some downtime. Meanwhile, police are investigating DK's killing, you know, the private investigator. And don't ask me how this guy is so smart to search his glasses and pulls one of his lenses and finds a flash drive inside of his glasses. So it's basically a camera in his lenses. Yeah. On his glasses, it shows evidence of Priya and them talking and Jagan shooting him to death. Meanwhile, everybody's chilling back at the cabin when all of a sudden the lights go out. They go in the basement and Dad's friend Negi's laying there dead. And we find out why. Jagan's in the basement. Jagan shoots Dad. I'm like, oh shit. Jagan's then staring Arya in the face to face. Mom intervenes and he ends up choking her to death. So now he's in the woods chasing after Arya after she makes an escape. But come to find out Priya's not dead, she's still alive. Then we have a final confrontation between her and Jagan. All of a sudden the cop shows up. Priya takes Jagan's gun. He takes the gun from her saying they gotta let the law handle it. And then she's crying like this shit's gonna happen again. Like the law doesn't protect us. Da, 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 da. So he gives her his gun and says, if you're gonna kill him, use the right gun. So he's become very sympathetic to her cause, you know what I'm saying? And he tells her to hurry up before anybody else comes. Jagan's trying to back off. She's conflicted about shooting him. Meanwhile, they've been telling the whole situation about how she ran up in all three of the other dudes. And the whole time, Arya was actually listening to the whole conversation. And then Arya finally acknowledges Priya as her mom when she says it. And the moment she says it, Priya lets off the whole clip in this nigga. Done deal, dead, Jagan, done. Done deal, dead. We have acknowledgement. We find out the husband's gonna be alright. It was just a shoulder wound. And that's how it ends. So yeah, wow, this movie was off the chains. It was definitely a powerful story. Mom on Netflix. Check it out. Like, click, and subscribe, do all that. You already know what time it is. Slick DZ, all the hazy mister. Big, you goddamn slogan.